right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Serious Angler podcast, powered by our friends over at X2 Power. And as always, I'm your host, Bailey Eichbrett, and joined with me is the captain, Mr. Andy Full. And we are a Bart Full episode tonight for the Mississippi River. We are deaconless tonight. He's actually going to join us in here in a second. He is filming a Business from the Bass Boat show that is running a little bit late, but he will be here shortly. And we might have some new viewers in here tonight, boys, because we are going live on the Twitter page, which if anybody is a Twitter folk and enjoys just lighthearted, funny fishing humor, you should follow Serious Dangler on Twitter, and we're going to go live from there from now on because it's one more place that we can spread the fun. Boys, what's going on tonight?
Oh, just Bart getting ripped on for the laundry room office.
Yeah. We're back.
Landry
I do
room.
have an announcement. I am moving in the next month or two, so the laundry room will be gone.
You're moving upstairs. Look at you.
Yeah.
He's got a new room, boys.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Had to. I apologize.
Are you moving out of state?
No, I'm moving to the other side of the cities.
Oh, okay. On your own, or are you gonna have a roommate or anything still?
No, I'll be living with a buddy. My brother, who I live with, he got married about a year ago, so it's about time.
Yeah. Give them a little bit of their privacy time. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, dude, folks that are tuning in tonight, we have a couple things to go over. Obviously, we're going to quickly recap Hawaii. We're going to go through the points and everything, how people did, if people sucked, people did good. And congratulations to Austin Felix. We're going to get into that here in a second. One thing, I don't think we've ever shown the folks, and I don't know, Bart, I don't know if I ever showed you the trophy. Did I show you the trophy for fantasy fishing?
No, I haven't seen it, and I might be able to win it. We got to get a little lucky here.
You might have a shot. You might have a shot. So
late season surge, just like the Northern boys. They come in
late. This is a big shout out to our boy Mr. John King over there at Drunkwood. If you guys ever want custom badass wood carving painted everything, it looks sick. You guys will see in a second. He's your guy to go to, and we can obviously drop a link in the comments if you guys want to get anything from him. I've ordered multiple things from him. But he made our trophy for fantasy fishing. All we had to do was beat him in one event for fantasy fishing, and he made us a trophy. So without further ado, I will show you guys. This is the trophy. How dope is that?
It's a big old crankbait.
The big old crankbait that says Fantasy Champ. So whomever wins this year will be getting shipped this, and I get the lovely pleasure of paying for that shipping. And at the rate I'm going, that might be part of my punishment. Oh, boy. But we got a few things to get out of the way tonight because, one, it's beneficial for you guys to hear them. And first things first, and we'll drop links down in the comments. But for folks that have been tuning in, you guys know that we have a discount code to Omnia Fishing. Well, until September 5th, that code is now 20% off site-wide. So Serious 20 will get you 20% off your entire order. Obviously, there's a couple brands in there that do not allow discounts on their stuff, so it doesn't apply to that. But the brands that do, it'll be 20% off those site-wide, your whole order. So make sure you guys make use of that. Again, we'll put it down below. And tonight, we're going to be giving away the new Hobie Eyewear Echoes. It's a new shade that Hobie just dropped, and they're nice enough to send us over a pair. And one lucky winner tonight will be winning a pair of those of your choosing. That's going to be pretty sweet. So make sure you guys are getting in on the comments and engaging tonight. It's going to be a heck of a fun one. We're going to have prizes again on the fishing gift card, Queen Tackle gift card, those Hobie Eyewear Echoes, and then some swag from Humminbird and Minn Kota. So a lot going on tonight. A lot of different things, especially because it's the last Bassmaster Elite event of the year. It's the last one. I feel like we just started this. I feel like we literally just started doing this year's shows.
Well, the issue is, I addressed it last episode, but the Elite Series likes to schedule back-to-back and then 6-week breaks. So It's brutal. it makes our job hard because like we get on a roll and then we're on winter like Christmas vacation for 2 months, and then we're back to it. It's crazy. So
yeah, and I think it's been fun and it's been kind of crazy. I love keeping up with it. I mean, it's and I would love to hear from you guys too if you guys end up playing the Major League Fishing one as well. If you do, Hellabass in the chat right here actually does great reviews. Like if you play that fantasy fishing game, he does some really good videos on it if you're trying to get some insight onto the picks for events. He does just great fantasy fishing stuff over there as well. And I want to do a quick shout out because, well, I mean, after this event too, the winner of the $250 Omnia gift card for the winner in our fantasy fishing group, that will be awarded. But quick shout out to the 2,400 people that joined our fantasy fishing group this year. That was pretty sweet. It's pretty cool to see our name up there and seeing fans that come like, hey, I'm in your fantasy fishing group, and they reach out over social. So I just wanted to quickly touch on that because that's just, I personally think that's pretty cool. So, well, boys, I was really hoping Deacon would be in here by now so we could kind of give him a slow clap for being late. But I think without further ado, let's start talking about Oahu a little bit. And Bart, I'm kind of curious what you saw versus what you thought it was going to be and kind of your takeaways.
Yeah. Well,
let the booze begin in the chat.
Yeah, first of all, I have to address the Carolina rig thing. I did not think the low water and boats on top of the fish were going to scare them that much. Those fish don't see a lot of pressure. From what I heard, they're not really boat shy. And that is the exact opposite of what happened. They got very boat shy, and kind of chatting with Austin about it. He even said on live, like, they realized there were boats there and they wouldn't eat up. And I think even Chris Johnston said on live, like, he could see so many of them and they wouldn't eat up. The weights were also a lot lower than I expected. I think a lot lower than a lot of the elites expected too. They just didn't eat very well. And I know Johnston even said, he's like, you're looking at the mega bag and they just won't eat. So I don't know. It was pretty cool though, seeing Austin get it done. I was pretty confident about that pick. He had a really good pre-practice last year. Was a little concerned after day one, but after seeing the 23 pounds after, it was like, okay, yep, he's around them.
I accidentally muted myself. I also want to point out the fact that you also said the Johnstons would not play in this event.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, hey, one of them did. How did Corey do? He made the cut, right?
I'm not sure. I'll have to go pull up the.
Chris was right up there, obviously, but
we thought Chris was going to win in the last day because he was.
Yeah, I don't think Corey did that great. I think he was in the 40s, but yeah, not bad.
Either way, better than a lot of the guys. There's some guys that bombed this tournament that I was very shocked that bombed this tournament. Like BP, for example. I mean, a 66 is not a major bomb, but it's still a bomb, and especially a bomb in BP's book, especially for the season he's been having. I was very shocked to see him not do well in this event.
Could you imagine if he caught one more fish on day one, he probably would have made the cut?
Probably, yeah. I think he had, 12 pounds for 4 fish?
Yeah, and there was a giant cut right in front of him by somebody who cut him off, but we won't really go that far.
That was one thing, actually, about the event, too. And that was
like a ledge
talking to a few elites. They had said that they thought it was going to fish pretty small, and boy, did it. There were guys lined up just on top of mega schools. I mean, they're gigantic schools of bass. But really seeing who could catch them was kind of the interesting thing, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it literally, I mean, I think Felix said it too. I was reading the Bass Blaster newsletter from today, and he's like, it fished like a ledge tournament, where everywhere you went, every spot you got would have 1 to 5 guys on it. And that was kind of, I didn't think that was going to be the case. I mean, granted, my knowledge there is minimal, but that was kind of interesting to see a smallmouth there pan out the way it did. I mean, I feel like there's some stuff at like to St. Lawrence where you might see 2 or 3 guys relatively close together, like maybe on a shallow flat, but like nothing like that. That was
well. I think with fresh fisheries too, like that don't see tournaments, they don't get pushed around much. So they're just on the most obvious structure. Like they just go to the best place. So they haven't gotten pushed around much. And I think that was a big thing. They just got pushed around so much. One thing I thought was interesting too, how big was the big bass?
I don't think it was over 6. I want to say it was like
Which-
5'10" or 5'11".
Honestly, that was really surprising for me because there's a lot of really big ones in there right now, and I think it just showed like they didn't eat, and I don't know if it was pressure or weather or what. But
I think Matt Aries, I don't know if you saw the video, that
Yeah,
fish
the
was
one he
close to
lost.
6. That was a big fish.
yeah,
But-
it just didn't seem like they ate that well. Which I mean, it was still a great event. It was a grinder of a smallmouth event, which is weird because normally that's not really a thing. So it was cool to see, the top 10 was so weird on the last day. You saw the smalley guys who can figure out how to grind them out, and then you saw some other guys, and it was very interesting. I thought it was a really interesting event.
Yeah.
And just really interesting in the fact that they were catching them at the end on bottom baits when like those fish literally chase smelt and lake herring. That's like all they do. So the fact that they got that much pressure that they were like, I'm just going to eat the crayfish that are rummaging around down here for the next few days is wild.
That was kind of nuts. You saw guys kind of slowly transition more and more to that Carolina rig day after day. Like I think everyone was Demiki rigging to some or drop shotting to some extent on day one, and then you saw the Carolina rig slowly get exposed. I mean, I think Felix said it was Livesey. Yeah, Meme Bass Pack commented on it in here that Livesey kind of exposed that for him because they were fishing the same spot. And Livesey pulled out the old ball and chain and started going to town. He's like, "Huh, I have that rigged up." I think he also said it in Bass Blaster's newsletter too. But super interesting. I mean, I think this event kind of opened your eyes to who's getting better at finesse fish, like Tyler Rivette in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I think he definitely played the C rig, and also watch. Did you guys see the fish he caught while he was sitting down?
Yeah, that's pretty good. He's like, this is so slow.
Yeah.
Well, they were off, and if you guys have fished smallies when they're off, like, my God, they're such sight feeders that it's like, oh my God, they can be picky. They're just unreal, and we're not used to seeing that in elite events. I'm used to it with events in Minnesota at times, but like, man, you really saw it at Oahe.
Yeah, we're going through that right now on Erie. Like, if you have forward facing, you can see like 10 or 12 of them on a rock pile, and you can get one of them to bite, and then they all just disappear or they stay, and they won't even follow your bait down. They're like, I know what happened. I am not biting.
I know who you are.
You have to run like 40 rock piles to catch 20 bass.
Those Oahe fish must be really smart because they figured it out quickly. They were like, I ain't a part of this.
Yeah.
I am getting out of here.
That was kind of wild how fast they got smart. Like, I didn't expect.
Yeah, I also wonder, like, they're throwing them back and calling fish. I wonder how much like that changes things too, because up here on Erie, like that's the issue. I think when we release the fish back in, when we're out just fun fishing, it just shuts them down. Like they know what's up. But usually, if you throw them in the well, you can catch a couple more, like you can on ledges.
I always think too. I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but it's always a thing for me, even with largemouth, especially on Minnetonka. Like if you lose one compared to if you catch one and then put it back, the school disintegrates 10 times faster.
Oh, 100%.
So it's like, I don't know if guys were losing them too, and then like they're all in giant community holes, so the school just gets shut down immediately, and then it's screwed for everyone. Like I don't know exactly what it was, but it was very, very interesting.
I think at that rate too, when you have 4 different lines on a school, I feel like that also kind of breaks it up a little bit. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it does.
Look who it is straggling in here. Mr. Adam Deacon, what's going on, dude?
What's going on, guys? Sorry. Recording the show, and it ran a little bit over, but we are here ready to roll now.
Welcome.
You know what that means, though? It just means it was a good show.
It was a great show, guys. Yeah, next week, check out Business from the Bass Boat. Got Eric Luzak coming on, breaking down his actual entire media kit. So it was cool to just see a complete breakdown. So good one to watch on YouTube because you get to see what he does when approaching sponsors.
Heck yeah. Well, Deacon, we kind of just went through a whole synopsis of Oahe, but do you have any takeaways before we start going into our picks from Oahe and how we did?
Yeah, man. Gosh, it seemed like it was kind of what I expected from an Oahe standpoint of some inconsistency for most guys, right? Like you'd see a really big bag and then a drop off. Seemed like a lot of guys were out offshore, chasing fish down on scope, and overall it was fun to watch. A lot of stuff going on, and I enjoyed watching the event for what I did get to see. But I'm sure you guys had some great insights on it.
I think the last takeaway I had, unless anybody else has any more, was everyone was either throwing a Carolina rig or Demiki, like we just talked about. One thing I think we left out was Taku was throwing a Nico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neds. I saw some Neds, some drop shots.
Oh, did you see Ned? I didn't see Ned.
You know what I'm really surprised didn't play for the fact that they went down eating off the bottom? I can't believe no one threw a tube. Just dragging a tube.
KJ
It's literally
KJ
the most catching bait in the world. And like
KJ
no one
Queen
even pulled one out. It was wild.
You know,
it's like a forgotten art at this point for smallmouth
fishing. It just
fishing.
catches so many. And like there's so many great small, like Great Lakes guys that throw, you know, Howies and all those good tubes. Like the fact that nobody pulled out a tube, just I don't know. It was wild.
I think Deacon was about to say the same thing. We got insider info from Jeff, KJ Queen's dad. Like since Pickwick, KJ has been smoking them on a tube every tournament on the new live sonar tungsten jig head. Like he hasn't been getting top 10s, but he's been doing good this season so far, and it's been a lot of it has been on a tube with that jig head, which apparently is
just
damn
you can
legit.
see it, man.
Yeah.
And another thing that I was going to say, I was watching the weigh-in. I think it was day 3, so before the cut, and G-Man Gerald Swindle had caught all of his fish on a big jig because he was like, dude, I'm seeing fish out here. There's not bait around. Like I'm throwing out a big crawfish, and he's cracking them with 20-pound. Like I mean, he's dropping on them with a big jig and just stroking them. And that's how he caught every single one of his fish.
I love it when smallmouth eat big jigs. It's the dumbest thing because you just hit them and you reel.
You're like, I don't care who you are, 4-pound smallmouth. This isn't 6-pound, baby. You're coming to the boat.
Yeah.
They
This
get
ain't no fairy wand, son.
They hit it so hard too. It's so awesome because like it's just slack.
Yeah,
That's all it is, just straight slack. So you just reel down and just give her the beans. Oh, it's so much fun. But yeah, that was the biggest thing. Like especially with them getting pressured, like a tube just falls so much different than literally anything else. Like I can't believe that nobody was like, yeah, I should chuck a tube out there and just watch it kind of twirl down there and see how they react. I don't know. Maybe some guys did throw it off camera and they just wouldn't eat it, but I don't know if I've ever seen a smallmouth that eats off the bottom that will not eat it too. So that was one thing that kind of blew my mind.
Well, it's
a lost start.
Yeah. Well, we have an episode planned in the works, being kind of like brainstormed with the Queens, talking 1 about tubes, and then 3 with talking about the live sonar jig head, and that's kind of being a trend right now, and people going after live or forward-facing sonar with baits. But that's a whole different discussion. That's a whole rabbit hole. We could probably go on for the next hour. But let's quick run through how our scores for Oahe, and then give an update on the tally, and start getting into the Mississippi River. Bart, wipe that smile off your face.
Hey, hold up. One quick thing. Saw in the comments here. Morgan Fitzgerald, how about red wine clanking them on the top water? He did talk about that one of the days, smoking them. I don't know if you guys had already talked about that, but smoking them in the wind on a big spook. Because those fish were just sitting, some of them on forward-facing sonar were just, 5 feet below the surface. So that was a good catch. That's something that was sneaky and folks weren't doing on that windy day. Can we shoot him a prize pack? Because I like that already. We're going to start it off early.
Yeah, choose one of your 4.
Let's go to Omnia.
Word. All right, Morgan. You have won yourself $25 to Omnia Fishing, which, by the way, I will reiterate for folks. Our 10% off code has now been bumped to 20% until September 5th. site-wide. So when you go and you order from Omnia Fishing, use code Series20, then I'll get you 20% off your entire order site-wide. So go use that $25 gift card and use the code, and you can probably get yourself about $35 worth. Save yourself some cash. So Morgan, reach out to us, dude, over email or social, and we'll send you that code and get you hooked up. So we have 3 more packs here. We have another guest joining us here, actually almost just in time. We have 3 more packs. We got the new Hobie Eyewear Echoes up for grabs, Humbird Minn Kota merch, as well as a Queen Tackle gift card. So you can get yourself some of those forward-facing sonar jigs.
I will say about the new Hobie shades, they're like a new age Pit Viper. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah, I want some bad. I messaged Dylan over there. I'm like, dude, I need these.
Like, if I can get those in prescription, sign me up. My wife
would be an
might hate
interesting
me,
prescription.
but it would be just straight across.
Would be interesting. All right. Well, without further ado, let's bring in our new guest to say hello. Mr. Ron Dog, Mr. Ronnie Moore.
What's up, guys?
Two fantasy shows in a row. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Big
dude, it was
time.
back by popular demand, I guess. I got like 5 DMs. I didn't know that you guys, I thought the only people who watch this show, were just you guys who are actually on the show. But no, we have more viewers. More viewers who were like, we gotta have it
Kick
on
them out right now. Like, jeez.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm subscribed.
Coming with gas.
I get the notifications with the Bassmaster YouTube channel because I've subscribed. So that's where I always watch it. So it never says I'm watching. It always says Bassmaster's watching because I'm behind the scenes just sneaking around.
We always enjoy seeing that
I like
Bassmaster logo pop up in the comment section. We enjoy it. But Ronnie, before we go through the score, so we took Deacon's takeaways and everything. We took all of ours. We discussed it for almost this whole episode so far. What was your takeaways from Oahe? Anything that big stood out to you?
I'm actually watching. Hold on just a second. Let me just show you. This is how bad it is. I watched 28 hours of live, every minute of it for the entire event, and then I have the FS2 replay right now of the same shows I've already done this week on the TV that are playing at dinner time. So, and I didn't even turn it to that. Sarah turned it to that when I got home. So she's addicted too, I guess. But no, man, Oahe, dude. First, I want to address we're never gonna make everyone happy. But there were so many people saying it was such a boring tournament and it's just guys staring at their graphs. And that is what else did we do at the St. Lawrence before forward-facing sonar? We would see guys staring at their graph. Like, it was just sonar, though. It was just slower. It was just less methodical. Or it was more methodical. They couldn't just know it was a fish and catch the fish. And so I don't know what the deal is. And I don't know. I almost want to take away forward-facing sonar just so the complaints go away, but I know they'll find something else to complain about. But anyways, besides that, I think Oahe performed better than it did in 2018. We saw some flashes of brilliance. I know it was obviously probably maybe a week or two before fish started really feeding up, and I listened to the tail end before joining in here, talking about the pressure that they got, and all of a sudden it was just Thursday and Friday was drop shot Ned rig. Saturday and Sunday was Carolina rig. It's crazy how quickly that script turned. And also we did a tackle tip on Austin Felix and how he won using a 3/4 ounce drop shot weight, which was huge for him. And he explained that when you see a fish on forward facing sonar, they were moving and swimming so much that it wasn't as easy as normal to be able to catch the fish you see. So having a heavier weight, which normally you guys know it as Northerners, you try to get away with, you start out lightweight and you try to get as heavy as you can with getting away with it. So he went 3/4 of an ounce. I didn't see anybody else using that heavy of a weight to target those fish you could see on forward facing because they're swimming so much. But I also think to address the tube thing, I think that no one was using a tube because it twirls, like Adam was saying, down there, because it took so long to get down to fish. It was either blowing on day 1 and 2, so it was hard to keep your position, or you were basically doing a St. Lawrence River drift over those spots. So you had to get your bait to the bottom or to that depth as quickly as possible. And maybe only on the calm day, which happened to be the toughest day on day 3, could they have gotten away with the slower fall presentation. So that was my only thing that I probably noticed, that maybe why they weren't using that. I was surprised we didn't see any spy bait stuff, but those fish, with how pelagic and how close to the surface some of them were getting, especially chasing. But I know some anglers what was very interesting is staying away from the bait or getting around the bait. We saw a lot of anglers this week say that I didn't have much bait in my area, so whenever I saw a fish, I could catch it. And some guys were like, I wanted to be around bait because there was the 100 fish schools that when I'd catch one, there would be a bunch with it and I could drop back and catch more. But we started seeing a lot less followers to the boat each day. I think Taku on the final day when he had the biggest bag, he was one of the only people that were like, there's multiple with this one. Let me call real quick and try to catch one. So a couple takeaways there, but I loved it. I mean, the fact we pulled off a live show with having 7 to 9 cameras live every day, with Patrick Welchers being the one exception, in the middle of South Dakota was incredible. And I really enjoy tougher events. I know the schedule is always heavyweights, and with the competition with MLF and the pro circuit, we got to get the biggest weight tournaments to keep it captivating. But I think the Winyas of the world, the Sabines, which are far worse than Oahe is weight-wise, I think the Hartwells, the ones that aren't going to break 80 pounds hardly, are still so fun because it is volatile. We saw one of the best smallmouth anglers not catch him this week in Brandon Polinick. So I think it provided a lot of drama, and I honestly love the place because I could tell how much the 3,000 person community of Mobridge, South Dakota, loved having us there. So I can appreciate that, especially for places that are used to having big tournaments. They're not, and people drove from 4 hours away to come see it. So it was very cool.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's cool to have that perspective. Thank you.
And I picked the winner. Let's go. Since January, I picked him for the win. Let's go.
You and Bart are rejoicing now.
Yeah.
Same.
It moved me up and drained the lake.
Well.
It moved me up, drained the lake big time with my performance this week. So I know we're going to get into that.
That was a Felix event. He just knew it going into it. It's right in his wheelhouse.
And I didn't even know he was the closest elite angler. I saw some of the social media pages that do stats and analytics, and they were like, he's the closest. And I was like, it's not close enough to be home. So I didn't even consider that being close but so he got a lot more attention than he probably would have if some of those people weren't like, oh, he's close by, because it's totally different, like Bart was saying. But I'll shut up and let you transition now, since you've tried 3 times to transition to the next part.
Bailey, I just want to hear who won the event and what the point standings are.
Of course you want to. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to announce the winner here, but we're not going to do it with Bart. We're going to keep him.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Last Bart.
It's even better that way.
I'm just kidding. So we'll do the rundown because I think people are here to hear about the Mississippi River, and we're going to get into that real quick here, guys. But I will start it off to get the worst out of the way. I had a great first day. I was in like 12:30, and I ended with 975.
Dude, low
My
key,
team completely flopped.
Bailey, it cracks me up because every event that first day, you're like hyping it, you're texting us everything. I'm like, dude, it's a 4-day event. This doesn't matter at all. Like, come on, here we go.
I'm going to come to Bailey's defense here, though. In fantasy fishing, he is beating us technically in standings.
Is he
Reverse
still?
our golf score. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like blowing all of us away.
What's your
Like-
point total?
I think he's in like the top 200.
I'm like 9,800.
Oh, I thought you were higher than that.
Oh, I'm 9750.
I'm 96.50.
Yeah, Bart is second now.
So I'm
I'm 96.95. So, yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
just below y'all in 95.66. So
Oh, Ronnie.
it's because I go
I love
against the
this
grain.
comment.
It's because
Oh,
we go against
I
the
love
grain.
this comment from Rick.
Oh my
975
gosh.
is almost Kyle Jesse bad.
I
How
get
dare
to
you talk bad about Kyle
Yes.
Jesse.
I get to
How dare
rib
you.
Kyle tomorrow on the Bassmaster podcast, because I was honestly, it's actually very impressive if you can pick 3 of the bottom 5 anglers. That is impressive. Like, I mean, that's another level.
That's when you know you're on it.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. All right.
Oh.
Well, obviously, I definitely had the worst. But Andy, go next. How'd you do at Oahe?
I had 1030.
10:30. Okay.
Yeah.
Deacon.
Let's see, man. Sorry, I was looking at my picks. So at Oahe, I had 1011. So 1,011 points.
Bart, round us out. I'm sure you can't wait to say it.
1,210. Only had one guy not make the cut,
Impressive.
and he
All
was
right.
the pick I felt the worst about. So
All right. I guess that's what I get for spicing up our group chat. Somebody's got to talk crap here. But that means, with that being said, karma came full circle, and I am now last in our group.
Oh no!
With 25 points. Andy in third with 24.
I hope I stay there.
Bart is in second with 22, and Deacon still leading with 19.
Wait, so how do you do this?
Golf score.
So if you win the event, you get 1 point. If you get second,
okay.
So you want to have the lowest score at the end of the year.
I did this with a group of guys one year. That was fun. I did it on paper, but we had about 15 guys get in the group, and it was golf score, but you pick the winner of every event, and wherever they finish, that's how many points you got. So if your guy finished 19, you got 19 points. If you guys got 100, you got 100 points. At the end of the year, the lowest score won overall. And so it was very cool. I had one dude, I think a dude literally 9-event season for the elites, and I think he had like 22 points. Like, it was absolutely, I was like, whoa.
That's sick. Actually, I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That could be a good add-in.
Yeah, you can get in the league. I'm firing it back up next year. Don't worry. Don't make it the serious angler league. And we just did this whole thing. We came up with this idea.
No.
Oh, we wouldn't do that to you, Ron.
Don't paint the bass shield red and say it's something different when it's the same thing. Don't do that.
Shoot us the invite. We'll gladly join that.
Of course.
So really quick, before we get into Mississippi River here, this point system is going to make things interesting because Bart has a chance. And I think we're going to have to figure something out on this episode to set in stone, because if Deacon gets last and Bart gets first, you guys will be tied at the end of the season. So how do we do? Do we go to like fantasy fishing, like the legit fantasy fishing, and see who has higher points to determine the winner? How should we determine that?
Oh, man.
I would say that, or closest to the weight of the final event.
That's a good point, too.
Could do that, or could do like choose a winner.
And where they finish.
Flip a coin.
Sweet Rich.
Ronnie, what do you think? We'll get outside source to determine this for us.
I think it's a little. Deacon, you ever fished the Mississippi River in lacrosse?
Never been, man.
No, I don't think that's. I think Adam wanted it to be the winning way.
He wanted it real bad.
I'm going a little high for it, so we'll see. But
that's a good point.
I'll text you. Cade Laufenberg's number, Adam, and you can get his winning weight prediction, and then you can get in on that.
I like it.
He'll probably say about what I'm going to say, to be honest. Maybe a hair less.
So are we going with winning weight then? Is that the consensus? Deacon, are you content with winning
points
weight?
Or weight? I think I'm ahead of him in points and weight-wise. Got the
thinks he's more accurate. But dude, I'm good with either. I'm good with the weight. I think just looking at prior stats, I got a decent understanding of where I think it'll go this time of year.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not scared, Bart. Shove it.
Bart's been high on weights all year. Like all
hold on. Let's talk about Oahe. Well, I have 97 pounds for Oahe. 97, I think you said, for Oahe.
I said 80-something.
No, I'm pretty sure it was 97.
I said that before the wind. I had 84.10.
Oh.
He did say 97 before the wind.
Yeah, well, I'm with him. I heard the same things he heard about it being unreal, but it being low like it was, and obviously not quite set up the way it's a little lower weight. But if it was a month later, it would have been canceled probably with 4 days of terrible winds up there.
Yeah, and that's when it gets real. I mean, so I've been on Oahe a couple times, and it's like there's a lot of that kind of 2 to 4 pound class fish, and then there's a couple of absolute 5 to 6 pound class fish and some giants, and they just seems to be a lot. It's not like a Great Lakes, right? There's not just a consistent population of like 4, 5, 6s. So I don't know. I saw some of the flip-flopping happening.
Does Oahe freeze over?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, I mean, it is big enough wind-wise where like you're talking. I mean, like Champlain doesn't freeze over every year, right? So like there's sometimes those big lakes that are like that. But I think because it's a river system, like
it's got to have some kind of
it'll ice up.
I'm surprised Champlain doesn't freeze over, because I've heard that it does.
So
just because it's so
Like,
cold up there.
The
Yeah.
bays will. The bays will.
it's not every year. So at least I had talked to a local up there about that exact thing, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, some years it's solid all the way over, and then some years it won't freeze at all. Like you won't even have ice chunks out in the main. Like all the bays, of course, yeah, you could literally it's 12 inches thick. You go out and ice fish them.
Yeah.
But like
when you have those late falls and early winters with some heavy north to south winds, the upper like towards the gut will stay.
And that thing always blows too, kind of like what Ronnie was alluding to with Oahe. Even it's just the wind is always a factor.
Yeah.
I
All right,
understand
boys.
that.
I'll start getting into the Mississippi River. Bart, seeing as you're the closest, what are some first notions, first claims, predictions that you have for this event? What are we going to see?
I think the number one thing is, I mean, if you want bold, I don't think it's necessarily that bold, but I think more smallmouth in a bag will win this event than largemouth. This time of year, we're here, and with the weather, it's going to be cloudy, and for a majority of it, and that seems kind of backwards. But those Mississippi River fish love clouds; they love it. Doesn't necessarily make sense since they're so shallow and like with duckweed and everything. I don't know. For some reason, they set up way better. You're gonna see. I was looking at the weather briefly, but
I got it pulled up here, Bart.
yeah, you're gonna see the first 2 days because it's Friday. Friday is the first day, right, Ronnie?
Yep.
Yeah, so like Friday, Saturday, you're gonna see some wicked smallmouth topwater more than likely, and it'll go all day. Like they'll do it literally all day if it's cloudy. So I think this event, much more than previous ones, you are going to see smallmouth play. And if I remember right, the last time they were here around this time is when Fighter almost beat Odd with all small.
2016, right?
Yeah.
That was this time of year. 2018 was in June. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So back when Seth kind of made his surge, that was largely smallmouth. And I remember talking to him about it, and he said his one regret from that tournament was when he went largemouth fishing for like 2-3 hours, and he wished he would have just smallie fished the whole time. But I do think you're going to see smallies play a lot more. I saw there was a tournament out of 7 last weekend, and I think it was like 18-1, 18-19. This event, I think it's gonna stack up really good. You're gonna see a different type of Mississippi River, especially it's been low and slow a majority of the summer. A lot of those big smallmouth are gonna show up, and it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be very different than a typical. I mean, not very different. You're still gonna see a bunch of people catch on a frog, but I think you could very well see someone win it with a spook and a fluke. Like legit, and it will be awesome because it's my favorite way to fish down there.
So you think smallies are going to win, or smallies are just going to be what the guys that are successful are going to be?
I think so. Here's the thing: when you smallie fish on the river, you might not weigh all smallmouth because a lot of those big largemouth this time of year will migrate to the current. So you'll be whacking on a smallie school, and all of a sudden you'll catch a 3.5 pound Larry. Like you're gonna weigh him in. So I think like the winning bag will have like 13 to 16 smallmouth. It could be all smallies. Like it very well could be. But more than likely you're gonna end up seeing it kind of blend. But generally they won't go target them. Like they're not gonna go throw a frog. They're gonna catch them in the current on a wing dam, a sand drop, a sand flat,
Wobble head off a point, stuff like that.
Yeah, where they're fishing for smallmouth, they'll catch largemouth. Especially it's been so low and slow. Those largies are going to get out of that backwater. They're going to go find current. They're not going to sit there the whole time.
So do you expect it to fish relatively small again because it's so low?
The river never fishes small. It's so long and just there's so much. Like there's so much stuff.
Fair enough.
I don't really think it fishes that small.
What's the Onalaska spillway flow like when it is low and slow? Like how I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
is it
honestly,
barely?
that year Ott won it, I think, was an anomaly. Like, I've never seen a tournament one right there.
No, I don't expect winning, but I know
Yeah.
day 1 and 2, it's going to gobble up a good chunk of the field that are going to give that a shot, which means
Yeah.
you've got to stay around that lacrosse region. You can't really go do another pattern. You might try to get a good bag there to save your other pool stuff or your
Yeah.
largemouth stuff, whatever.
I haven't fished that spillway much, so I don't know exactly, but I would assume there's going to be like barely any water going over it, if anything. I mean, the river's at like, I think I was looking, it's at like 5 feet down there.
Yeah, that's what Jeremiah Shaver posted today. It's
Yeah,
been 7 and 8 for all of them, and it was 13 for 2018 or something like that.
Yeah, it's low. Like, there's not going to be a lot of water moving, like not much at all.
We got David Jong in the chat from Angler's Channel.
Yo,
asking,
yo.
which pool will the winning pattern come from?
It'll probably be a combo because of barge traffic. You got to come back, but I would imagine, I'd imagine it'll be 7 and 8. 9's really good. It's just a lot of fish have gotten pulled out of 9. A lot of fish have gotten pulled out of 7 too, but there's more tournaments that go out of 7 than go out of 9. So they
And you're much closer as well.
Yeah, you're much closer. 9's a long run.
What are the water levels at? We got a bunch of people asking that.
It's low. 5. It says 5. I don't know what typical is in lacrosse. Like, if I look, let me look at Wabasha, and I could give you a general idea.
Real quick, how many people are going to get stuck on sandbars?
A lot, because it's really low.
Somebody's going to miss the classic because they're late, or they had to get a ride in. You know.
So should we have an over/under on sandbar trappage?
Well, see,
that's how we determine who wins
over the winner. Yes.
How are you going to govern that? I mean, is someone stuck for an hour classified, or is it only the ones posted on Facebook that classify? You know,
Yeah,
that's where
Instagram
you come in,
you
Ronnie.
see in
You have to
practice?
know
Yeah.
who all is stuck, and you have to report it back.
hey
to
guys, text me when you're stuck so I can put you down,
Yeah.
and I'll
Hey,
tell
guys.
Tom Mansour to come to get you.
Tell the serious
perfect.
angler guys when you get stuck.
Yeah, Tom Mansour, doesn't he have an airboat
Yeah.
deal up there?
There's
Yeah.
quite a few guys down there that have them to pull them out. But
It was a
looking
joke
at
because
the
it's the most expensive one or whatever.
looking at the
Yeah,
water
it
levels,
charges
it's
$1,000.
so the water levels in Wabasha, which it looks like it's about the same down in lacrosse, are about like they're pretty summer, like typical summer to a hair low. Like that's about it. It's pretty standard summer. It just feels like every time they're here, it's high. Or like higher than it should be, a foot or two higher. So it's pretty typical.
Yeah, like what that post said, it said Jeremiah Shaver, he lives in La Crosse region. He's always helps with the volunteers. He said every time the elites have been here, it's been in that 7 to 9 foot range, except for 2018, which was 13 feet. And you could see that was when it was flooded up in the trees, and it was just like, I mean, it was duckweed everywhere for Ish, and it was flooded in the trees for Porosnik. He had tree frogs jumping in the boat because he was so far in the woods. And then this week it's 5.26, and it's stable though, so it's not like it's falling or rising. It's stable.
That's really good for the smallmouth.
Really? So, like, when it's stable, the current is consistent, and then your smallie bites better, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, they won't vanish.
Sure.
That's kind of the bigger thing.
Yeah,
They'll
they're just
vanish
kind of
on you.
stuck.
But you got to think, Adam, someone's going to find a place that you could probably catch 20 largemouth and win, whether it's a turn in, a field of grass, and there's a turn that's going to have fish congregated because it's so low. When you do find some, you're going to find a bunch. You know what I'm saying? They're all like they're in a bucket. You know what I'm saying? In some of those areas, especially like where I covered Jordan Lee in past. Like
Yeah,
when you're just out there. Yeah.
Yeah, down by like Goose Pond and Stoddard, it'll be good. There's going to be clean water down there. Or not Goose Pond, Goose Island, whatever it's called, just north of Stoddard. There'll be a bunch down there. There'll be a bunch of people down there. There always is. But like with those the way I always think of a lacrosse event and a river event in general is a lot of those guys are going to look for the largemouth because river smallmouth are weird. So it's not going to have a ton of pressure if you do find the smallies. Whereas if you find a little juicy largie hole, 4 days is a lot of days, man, to pull them out of one duckweed patch. Like I've seen magical duckweed patch where you can catch 50 to 70 of them out of, but they're not that big. I think a lot of the bags you see won by the river rats are smallies. Like that bag that won last weekend, if I remember right, was mainly smallmouth. Yeah, like Rich said, you need a handful of spots on the
Well, and I don't think that it's going to be one. I'm
Yeah.
just saying you can find a spot that you can just hammer on, and it's not like do or die. And then you obviously are going to find multiple places to go catch one. You can still just go down the bank and catch solos, or whatever if you need to.
Yeah, your big fish probably will be caught randomly in a duckweed mat. To be honest, it's probably not going to be a smallmouth. There are some really big ones down there now, but it's probably going to be a largemouth.
I think there's one thing to point out that Rich put in the comments here is that rule that BP got DQ'd for is no longer in existence.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can call both sides of the river now. Yeah, you're good. That went
You
away
made sure
like
to
a year after that.
Yes,
happened.
because there was quite a few Bassmaster negotiations on why is this thing still going on. The only thing I will say, you can call Minnesota and Wisconsin back and forth. It's they align now. But if you go to Pool 9 and you fish in Iowa waters, which is the western side of the river in Pool 9, you have to be out of Iowa waters by 2 p.m., which shouldn't be a problem because most people have to be back. So you better be through the lock at 2 p.m. But that's the only thing that's like, other than here's your playing field and do what you want. You got to be out of Iowa in 2.
Yeah, that's a southwest side of 9. It's about as far as you can go.
What is that about?
Dude, that's why our divisionals, we had to weigh in at 2.
That's so weird.
So early. Yeah, you can't fish past like 2 in the summer. I don't know. It's a weird deal.
That's like California too.
Yeah,
it's a similar situation. Just they have a rule in the summertime because of fish mortality, right? Like that's when your fish mortality is higher in tournament situations. So they just cap it to a certain time of day.
Wow. Like you can't fish past it, or you can't have fish in your live well.
Tournaments, at least in California, it's that way.
Yeah, so they just got to be out of Iowa. Which, if you're running back from 9, like like Ronnie said, you should probably be through that lock by 2.
Be back through.
Yeah,
unless you're stuck on a sandbar.
It's a long ways.
Or you hit the giant rock that Elton Jones used to fish down there.
Yeah, the old road bed.
All right. Any more predictions or anything before we start getting into our buckets here?
No, I just think it's gonna be a cool event. I think it'll be much more similar to like the Fighter and Biffle won one down there on a shell bar, didn't he? I think it'll be much more similar to that than
I mean, one just fan perspective, I love events like this because there are so many different factors. There's largemouth and smallmouth at play. A lot of different ways for guys to catch them. So this would be a fun one just to see what patterns kind of prevail.
Ronnie, real fast for the folks, give us an update on the AOI race. What should we be looking out for?
Spot Hunter 13 is going to be disappointed because John Cox can't put any pressure on BP because he has fallen. Let me see where he fell to. It is, I'll pull it up real quick. I think he fell to like 7th. He had a bad tournament. The top 3 coming into the Oahe event all had bad tournaments. Yeah, John Cox fell down to 5th, and he is 47 plus 15 is 62. So he's 62 points behind. That's a big gap now with one event to go and only 90 possible points to move from. 100 points for first, 10 for last. Only 90 points to move. 65 is a lot. But Brandon Polonick's leading by 37 points over Brandon Lester. And he's leading by 46 over Chris Johnston. David Mullins is just 4 more points behind that. I would say, honestly, that 50 points is the farthest you can move if you pulled off something miraculous. So I think it's the top 4, but it's really top 3, but it's even more so those top 2. 37, I said in the podcast going into Oahe, I said, if someone can go into La Crosse within 35 to 40 points of BP, it is a realistic chance that we should not be shocked if that second place person in pursuit can win the AOI, because that means if you're within 35 to 40 points of Brandon, that he can still make the day 3 cut and you can go get a top 10 and still have a chance to win AOI. Like, he has to finish in the 40 to 47 and you can still do it if you're in the top 10. And so I think that's what makes it intriguing with Lester. I think Lester's going to fish well. He's fished well all season. He was my AOI pick going into the year, so I'm very excited about that he's making me look good after winning an Open and then also winning an Elite this year. So yeah, it's really 37 points, 46 points, 50 points, and then below that it starts to have a couple little. But honestly, from 5th, there's going to be a lot of money exchanged from 5th to 8th because those 4 people are within 4 points. Cox, Zaldane, Benton, and Walters are all within 4 points for 5th through 8th, and that's AOI money with the progressive AOI payout. So there'll be some people definitely fighting for that as well, which is really cool because there's never been incentive for people who are 5th through 10th to, what do I have to fish for? I mean, good enough, but not good enough to win AOI. Can't really fall down, and there's no payout in past years. Now there's a payout, and so there's something to fight for sure.
Heck yeah.
The only last thing I'll say, Bailey, then we'll get to picks, is I really think you're going to see a Carolina rig potentially win an event again.
Now that you say it, it's not going to fall.
Maybe. I hope not, because then it'll be top water. But Carolina rig really good on the river, especially when it's low and slow.
And to Hellabass's point, just to juicing up the story around the AOI race, which is just awesome. BP has not been super stellar at lacrosse. Outside of that,
that's true, Adam.
So good work. That was a Hellabass.
Yeah, he had 4 events there previously. He has missed 2 cuts. He's made a cut in like the 30s, and then he got DQ'd when he was leading. So yeah, the track record's not stellar, and that's why I said that whole points thing, like, because it's not a shoe-in. But Oahe was supposed to be a shoe-in too. It was where Lester had his worst career finish, and Polinick made a top 25 the year that they went, and we saw it flip there. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think really quick, because of that, kind of sparked a cool conversation. Spot Hunter, you won a Humminbird and Minn Kota swag pack, being at the conversation from BP. I think that fits. So Spot Hunter, reach out over email or social. We'll get that sent out to you. But fellas, let's get into the picks. I think people, they asked us last week to go from E to A, which I think will make Mr. Hellabass in the chat happy. So let's start with bucket E. Bart, being that you won last week, and Ronnie, feel free to join in with your picks as well if you'd like. Bart, being that you won, take us away, buddy.
Yeah, I don't have a good pick in this bucket.
Excuses already building excuses. Look at that.
But I'm gonna go with Kyle Welcher just because I think he's too good of a stick not to catch him at a place that has a lot of fish. I think he can junk fish around and catch them there. To be honest, he's just had a bad year, but really good angler. I think he'll be able to bum around and catch them. He's used to fishing on river systems and stuff like that. But there was nobody in there. I was like, man, I'm really excited to pick you, unless I completely overstepped someone and totally missed it. But
if you think that for bucket E, I can't wait to hear what you say about bucket D, because that's the one that I was like, what in the heck? Can I not pick one? But
yeah.
All right. Well, Andy, you got second last week, so you get to go next.
Well, didn't I get third? But yeah, I'll go next. That's fine.
Got second.
I did? Oh, wow.
Yeah. I got second. Right.
All right. Well,
first time.
Yeah, first time. First time for everything, right? Like, I'll take it. No, I'm actually going to take Alex Redwine. He's rooming with Jay Shakirat, so I'm sure Jay has fished there quite a bit, seeing he's probably, 2.5 hours away at him ish.
Yeah, probably about that, 2 to 2.5.
Yeah, quickly Google mapping at it, and he knows how to catch fish. So I'm going to go with Alex. It's northern water. Everyone's going to catch fish. It's just, can you find bigger ones? Come on, Ronnie. Give me a break.
That's the best explanation I've ever heard.
It's the Mississippi River. Everyone's going to catch fish.
Hey, he knows how to catch fish. So there's
all right. Let me just excuse
Arkansas
myself
BFLs know how to catch fish. What are we talking
about? We are.
I almost went with that pick, Andy, for that reason. But
no, it's the Mississippi River. It's kind of like a crapshoot from years past, right? Guys do really good one year, then they stink it up the next year. And I feel like it's more luck because everybody's going to catch them. So you have to get lucky and stumble upon a couple bigger bites. And I don't know who else to choose. I thought about taking Dice K because he almost won an Open there. But every time I seem to take Dice K, he screws me. So
You're
I'm
rolling
done.
the dice, K.
Yeah, yeah.
Quite
So,
literally.
yeah, like every.
Boo.
Yeah.
Dad jokes.
Risk reward there.
With that river, I always think in practice down there, and for people who don't fish it a lot, like on that river, if you get a clue early in practice on like what they're on, it like having a good practice is a really big deal on the river because you can fish for like 6 hours and not get a bite. So getting in a good groove is really helpful.
I love that comment.
Okay, Jim is like he puts curses on everyone's picks, and it seems like when he picks somebody, they bomb. So that's perfect.
That's funny.
He literally said, he said in fucking E, my first victim is Maddie.
Yeah. Poor
My
Maddie.
first victim. He said victim. Oh god, that's amazing.
That's pretty good.
That made my day. All right,
Love
Deacon, Deacon, you're up, dude.
All right, man. I'm in the same boat here. There's just, you look at kind of past results here, and not too many of our bucket E guys have anything super substantial. I will say Hank Cherry's had an okay track record here, but he's been kind of worrying me just with his season, kind of after his 2 incredible seasons. Dice K is risky to me, so I'm on the same boat. Kyle Welcher's a good angler, understands current, he understands grass fishing, Alabama swim jigging, that kind of a thing. So frogging, to me, he's going to find some fish and have an okay finish here, and that's what I'm kind of looking for in a bucket E.
Heck yeah. Well, Ronnie, I will let you go in front of me because I have 0 good reasons for my pick. So,
Well, good.
Just because they catch fish, right?
No, it's not even that bad.
So I will say, looking at bucket E, it's honestly shocking how many of these guys have been in this bucket all season. So it's not like people have just fallen to the basement. It's like they didn't get off to a good start and they hadn't figured out how to get it back on the tracks. And it's really, really good anglers as well that shouldn't be in bucket E. But I'm going to go with Keith Combs. Looking at 3.7% for Keith Combs, he's got a pretty good track record here as well. And I think overall, like, people don't think about Keith Combs frogging. People don't think about Keith Combs smallmouth. But, man, if they are on the main drag and he's able to throw a moving bait around some current or something, I think that he can, gain some confidence that way and then maybe go, flip or frog for an extra fish or 2 at the end of the day or whenever that bite dies for him. I think because I don't think – the only thing I'll say to rebuke what Adam has said is I don't think that you can – the window of catching smallmouth on the river on the main drag has not opened up to a full 8 hours. It's not like you can do that all day. There'll be like a window in the morning for an hour or so and then probably an afternoon and maybe one in the midday. So that's 3 hours of your day you can – if you time it right, you can be catching. But I do think that they're going to have to leave that stuff because they could die out there just like somebody could die in the duckweed. So I think Combs is I think this is a good one that Combs can get not back on track as he ends the season, but just something to get. I mean, I don't know what the deal's been the last 2 years with him. It's been a bummer to see him miss classics because he's not. Before the split, he was top 10 in AOI every year. So
high caliber angler.
Yeah, and so it's definitely not like, he didn't catch him when the elites, before the split. No, he caught him then, and he hasn't caught. I don't know what's the deal is. So
I dig it. I can see that. With my pick, again, I had no reason beyond the fact that I don't want our punishment for fantasy fishing, so I'm playing this safe. And I'm going Kyle Welcher. So playing the numbers here, boys. So that moves us to
if Deacon copies Adam the whole time, well, I guess then he can't make up the gap. Adam has to lose. That's right. Never mind. I was going to say you could play it safe and just copy, but
100%. I thought about that. And the reason I say that, so I have a family friend that won the PBR fantasy bull riding, right? Like for the country last year, won this big trip out of it and everything. And going into the final deal, the only person that could catch her was some other guy, and she waited for him to make his picks. Copied every single pick, no chance of losing, and won it because she was ahead.
Genius.
Won the entire thing. Like,
I don't ever want someone to say there's fantasy fishing ? Because there's fantasy bull riding ?
Dude.
What in the world?
uh-huh.
While we're
Exactly.
talking about like
I need a
winning and
screen
stuff
of
real
knowledge of
fast,
that one.
Let's go.
I just want to throw it out there. My buddy Josh, that I fish a pretty big tournament in Canada, is #1 overall in all of fantasy fishing right now.
No way.
Here in Buffalo, New York. Yeah,
That's
So-
super cool.
which is pretty sweet. And
WMI Bass.
he's
Wait. Did you say he's in Canada or in Buffalo, New York?
he's in Buffalo, New York. Yes.
Okay, so he can
Yeah.
win prizes. If he's
Yes.
in Canada, he can't
Yeah.
win jack.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
But like a
Damn
real quick
Canadians.
fun fact about Josh, he's not saying he's lucky, but a couple of years ago, when Van Dam and Zona fished in Michigan and did like the Bassmaster Live thing, he won the Hummingbird prize pack off of that live show. So yeah, like he's got some
He's
luck when it
digging
comes to
Bassmaster.
winning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got some juju is what you're saying.
Yes.
I thought Andrew was about to give away the lake or something. I was like,
No.
don't
Yeah.
give away.
No.
the lake.
He chimed
Oh
in,
God.
and I don't remember what his question was, but he won the Hummingbird prize pack, which was
That's
pretty
awesome.
sweet. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, sweet. Let's get into bucket D. Bart, take it away.
Like Ronnie said, this wasn't a great bucket either, but one guy popped out to me. He's had a tough year, but I think he'll catch him on a frog and a wacky Cinco just bumming around, and that's Jake Whitaker. I think he'll catch him here. Yeah, I don't. He just had a tough year. He's good at catching fish, and I think he's done well here before, but I don't remember, so don't quote me.
He did. What's
Yeah,
crazy?
that's
What's crazy is
how-
he's had 3 top 20s this year, and
Just
he's
had
had
bombs.
4 under 66th. It's crazy. Or 5. Wait, 5. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
absolutely crazy.
Peaks and valleys, we'll call them.
Yeah, so
But
he's
he
going to
did
do a peak.
yeah. Yeah,
Here we
hey,
go.
he did do well in the Mississippi River in 2018 as well. I think he got in the 20s. And one of the things that was funny was because that was the year he won Rookie of the Year. He caught like 3 fish a day off of a laydown, like the same laydown. Like he went to the same laydown and caught 3 fish of his 5 fish every day off of it. It was, and some of them were largemouth, some of them were smallmouth. It was very cool.
That is wild.
But yeah, Jake Whitaker. So that's my pick.
I like
Dig it. All right, Andy, you're up.
I'm going to take a swing here because I feel like taking a swing. Really, I'm taking Wes. He almost won the Open there a few years ago, and a good grass fisherman needs to turn the season around and get some momentum for next year. So I'm going to take Wes Logan and bucket D.
Let's hear it, Ronnie.
Yeah,
Why are you shaking your head, man?
I love Andrew's reason. He's like, I'm going to go for a swing like
Like,
it's a gamble.
For
It's
no
like,
reason, but I'm swinging.
Yeah.
I'm swinging. All right.
16%. Like it's one of the most favorite angles. He's like, I'm just
Yeah.
taking a shot in the dark with this guy.
I am
These
taking
guys
got
are
it.
random.
taking
I
a
love
swing.
you. I love you. I'm just kidding.
It's
I got
fine.
a back. Sorry, Deacon, to cut you here, but like I'm backing Andy here with the West pick. But Andy, dude, it's not swinging, it's West and it's frogging and punching.
It's
Like,
swinging though
that's
after
Wes,
the year.
that's
You
Wes.
never
He
know.
also
Like
took
the
30.
year he's having, it's a swing. Anybody in Group D and E is a swing at this point.
Yeah, honestly.
So like,
Yeah, so I swung with Jake Whitaker.
I will. Again, I apologize, Deacon. I cut you off on the pick here, but I want to point out I did not choose Justin Atkins for this tournament.
wow.
I
The
bet you
first
Kyle Jesse
Drum
will
roll.
100% tomorrow. 100%.
Poor Justin, poor guy,
Dude, you were on a roll there. Just Justin on everything.
dude. Because it just felt right. But then, like some tournaments, you'd be like, "Oh, it worked out," and then some of them you're like, "This seems like an Atkins tournament," and he bombed.
Everyone made fun of me for Felix, and Bailey picks Justin for 5 out of the 9 tournaments a year.
But that's because it's different because it's like kind of you
Not
feel like
different.
a Midwest. You have to like push the Midwest because you're from there. This is different because he's just a fan of somebody. You're like, oh, well, he's from my home. Okay, here we go. We have to choose him.
It's not even like fan.
It hasn't
Like, I
failed
like
me.
Justin, but like it just fits. Like he's okay. All
He's
right, we're
also
we're
got to
end that
support.
one.
He's got to support his, his side job, career, and the anglers that they work with.
Oh,
He's
that
got
has nothing to do with that.
He's got a quota. He's got to do it. Yeah.
That has zero
Enough
equity.
mentions of my anglers.
Love this.
Yeah.
He's taking the Bailey curse off of Justin here. Now he's gonna
Justin's
actually
so
catch
pumped
him.
right now. He's like, oh, thank God.
He's gonna win the dang derb now. Is what he's gonna do.
Dude, 100%.
Oh God! All right, Deacon, what's your pick?
Oh man, dude, I'm so tempted to just copy Bartusik's picks, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it
Just
more
do
fun
it.
than this.
Just
Good
Because
guy.
agonize him here.
just get him. But no, I'm going Wes as well, man. I just think that this is going to be great for him. Again, more of that. He's going to go frogging and flipping. He's going to be consistent. He's going to find some fish, and he had a really good finish here, so he's been around the place a little bit.
Oh, that's funny. Saying Justin's stock's gonna go up 30% after I'm out. That's
Very well
hilarious.
might.
That's hilarious. All right, Ronnie, round us out.
Daryl Gleason. I think that he's shown signs of being able to do well on tough river conditions, whether it's the Coosa River and things like that. And so I think some winding baits might come into play. He's not afraid to top water him to death either. He throws the Carolina rig and drop shot religiously in Louisiana. And so I think that Daryl could be one with a sneaky pick here. But literally, dude, I looked through almost everybody in this bucket, and they either got a top 5 in the Open that they had in 2019, or they've literally averaged 90th place finishes in the Elite Series. It's absolutely crazy. I picked guys, I'm just like, he's from Tennessee. Let me check out his 97th. Oh, let me check out this guy's. It's like 56th, 88th, 102nd. And I'm like, how the heck does no one in Bucket D ever done well at the Mississippi River? But I think Daryl will do solid in that his year. Him and Justin both need to catch him. And so maybe the good vibes are going there. I didn't want to pick Jake because I didn't want to pull a Bartusik and pick someone who used to be down the road from me, and he's one in my home circle, guys in North Carolina. So I stayed away from Whitaker. I want to see him do well without the curse of Ronnie picking him. So Daryl's my pick there. Had to stay away from Steve Kennedy because I swore him off at the beginning of the season. Can't pick him in Rapala because he literally gets last if I pick him, and I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. You're done.
You are forbidden. I do have a weird hunch about Strasner in this event because he seems to do well around grass. So I think if you're going wild card, I wouldn't trust me. I'm last in this fantasy game with these guys, but just weird pick. All right, Bucket C. Bart, let's hear it.
Yeah. So this one, honestly, I thought was a pretty easy pick.
He's going Dougie. I know it.
No, Dougie does not have like much experience on the river at all. Actually, I think last year in the Open was the first time he had fished there. He told me, but I am going with a guy who always does well on rivers, and whenever he gets a top 10, it's with grass around him. So I'm going with Brian Schmidt because he's going to catch him.
He also won there.
He's won there, and he ain't scared of getting stuck. And if you're going to catch him down there, you need to not be scared of getting stuck.
Yeah, I guess somebody in the comments earlier said he got stuck today already. So
yeah, he's doing great.
He's just paving his path. That's all. He's just dredging.
Dude, that's what half of the guys down there do. They get stuck and just rever.
You guys need to do you need to do a count on Instagram stories of a pro taking a video of another pro shooting a mud rooster tail up. How many times we see that in someone else's Instagram story?
Yeah, it's like a drinking game. We should have done that with the amount of buffalo pictures on Instagram.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, I know. What's hilarious is like when I first saw the first one, like John Cruiser, somebody posted it. Like I literally had that exact same situation fishing there earlier this year. Where there's one bison on the side. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. He saw the same buffalo I did, and then I saw like 100 more. I'm like, all right, I guess there's more than just one buffalo.
Fantastic.
Also, it was very cool to mention Oahe real quick that there was like a sitting bull monument, and there's some other Native American like burial ground like monuments and stuff right there across from Takeoff on the other side of the river or on the other side of the lake. Pretty cool to see that kind of U.S. history in that region with a bass tournament. It's almost like a DC event in Potomac. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was cool.
It's cool, man. Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right, who's up? Andy?
Yes. So I was torn between two people, and I ended up going with Schmidt, but I was thinking Bill Lowen just because he knows how to catch fish in river, Ohio River.
finally got the blue trophy last year at Eufaula. I was like, and he seemed to have an okay year. Pickwick. I don't know why I thought Eufaula. I'm sorry. It's been a long
Man,
time.
Andy,
That
you were
was
just
me.
3
I
for
am
3 on
dropping
saying something.
the
3 for
ball
3.
today.
You
Yeah.
just get shy when I'm on
I
the
just
show or
kicked me
something.
off of here. Just kicked
Now
me
he's
off.
now he's done.
Ah.
He's cursed the rest of the show, man.
This is bad today. I apologize. No, but I am going Schmidt. He's an incredible grass fisherman, and like he has won there in the past in 2017 or 2016, I believe, on the tour. So, yeah,
You always find something a little off the wall compared to the others fishing grass too. I have like
that's
an
important.
patch.
Yeah.
Or something.
Heck yeah. Deacon?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of good options here in this bucket. You know, I looked at Schmidt for sure. I thought another one, Caleb Sumralls, had a strong year and is seems to play well when it's shallow and kind of a situation. And then Brock Mosley seems to have a high percentage here, but to me, I'm in the same boat, or I guess I'm the opposite. I went with Bill Lowen in this one, kind of a safer pick. He's had a pretty good track record there, and is gonna catch a limit either way. It's just a matter of what it's gonna weigh, and I think he's gonna put something together this week.
You mentioned my pick, and it wasn't Bill Lowen. I picked Caleb Sumrall, and he's only fished here once before. He's made the cut. But I think what's weird is this year, events that you expect him to catch him in, like the Harris Chain, like Santee Cooper, he has not. And he's gotten better at smallmouth, and he's really gaining, though. He had a top 20, a top 30, and a top 40 in a row to now be back inside that classic cut line. Really, he's been fishing well the last few years. Yeah, he's been very consistent up north and made classics because of that. And this year he's needed it to bail him out. And so I think he could get back to his way of fishing. He's got to catch him. There's a little pressure there. He's probably got about a 5 or 6 point. Let me see what it is actually. 40th place in AOY. And he's got a 6 point gap on 43rd, which is the last spot. And there's 12 more points in the next spot. So he's got a little bit of a buffer, but he needs to catch him, and making the cut this week would probably solidify his classic for sure. Getting to that 506 projected point total. So I'm going with Summerall, and it's 5%. There are so many good picks, like Mark Edwards just said. There's so many at 12, 11, 15, 12, 18, 5, 5. You know, there's a bunch of good people that it's really dispersed well in this bucket.
I got to say, Eric just pointed this out. Schmidt's only at 11%.
Yeah.
That is mind-blowing to me. How is Brock Mosley higher than Brian Schmidt here?
I feel like Schmidt never gets like high either, though. Like when he won at Champlain, I think he was like 18 or 19%, like the highest you might ever see him, unless you're on like a tidal fishery, like the Chesapeake or the James. But it's never so.
He's like, I mean, I think sometimes too, folks don't necessarily do all their due diligence on previous tournaments, right? As far as if they were a Major League Fishing event, a Toyota Series, that kind of a thing. And so you look at his statistics, like, I mean, he's, I think, won more Toyota Series than anyone else ever. And it's always on grass fisheries. And so I think people just don't check everything out.
I will say I think that Schmidt's a good pick because he's won here and he's very comfortable and he's going to probably do well this week, and he needs to do well. It was a May tournament, and I know time of year matters at times, and so May compared to August, water level conditions, it's just so hard for me to believe sometimes that these people are going to go. It's some anglers who've won places lean on history, and it hurts them the next time. They go and check those things. And sometimes winners feel so comfortable at a place that they can go fish brand new water and go explore and feel confident. So I don't know where Schmidt's at on that line. He's a very, very good pick. But yeah, I think a lot of people they don't necessarily know the name yet. I don't know why, but they don't know the name like they know Brock Mosley. Like Brock's been around for more on the elites than Schmidt has. And so it's an easy name. It's a buzz name. That's why I think percentages are so important. And not because you want to just do something off the beaten path. It's because it's so low-hanging fruit. It's the popular name in the bucket for no reason. Like Brandon Polinick at Oahu was 46 or 47%, almost 50%. And you have the Johnstons, Taku, like Gussie. What the heck? So, of course, everyone else was a bargain. And so that's my little rant on percentages. But I think it is name notoriety, and they should know Schmidt.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll agree with that. This comment here from Eric saying he likes Shryock, but can't bring himself to not pick Schmidt, and that is my exact thinking for this group. Where I would love to, if I wasn't in last in this group here, to pick Hunter to go for the points here, especially with the percentage being at 5. But playing it safe here, trying not to get punished in this group. I'm going with Brian Schmidt. There really is no other better explanation because half of you guys already went through. So we'll leave it at that.
So what's the punishment for being last? I feel like Bailey's so scared. It's like you have to like play golf with your pants down or something off the tee.
Well, he's not going to pull Matt Robertson, all right? Like
Bailey has to catch the fish on video with the dick lure.
Hey, go ahead and say it. There it is.
There you go.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Bart has ruined the surprise.
I already ruined it earlier. Sorry.
Yeah, it's out for people now, but I'm sure
Don't
you've
worry.
seen that crankbait, Ronnie. Basically, I have to go out and catch a fish on it and record it for everybody.
Good.
Hump it
Don't
up
worry.
and stop. Like some
good-
stumps and
Such
tree
broke
branches.
some news on Bass Live that he wasn't supposed to break during
Heard that.
Oahe. So I hope that people just weren't paying attention. I'm like, what are
Now
we
they're
doing?
all going to go back and watch, Ron.
Oh,
Well,
good.
I watched
The
almost
day
whole
2 is
thing.
premiering right now.
There we go.
Oh, so now we know what day to go watch. Is that
No,
what you're
I'm just
saying?
saying. I'm saying yesterday was day 1, today's day 2, and we'll have them finished up before day 1 of lacrosse starts.
I was gonna say a good sleeper in that bucket that no one's really talked about, and I think he spent a fair amount of time here last year around that same time is Carl Jocenson. Carl's really good with the frog. He's been around here, been here before. Like he spent a lot of time up around Minnesota. So Carl ain't a terrible pick too. He likes throwing a frog and he's good at catching them.
He needs to as well.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of a gap for his first classic berth.
It's almost there. All right. Well, really quick, I think we'll remind Andy and Bart, you guys still have Queen Tackle and the new Hobie Echo Shades to give away tonight. So if you guys see anything pop up, holler and pick a winner. Just throw that out there.
If someone could pick my Group B pick based on who's all in there, I'll give it to them.
Oh, that's a good one because it's like literally the state of Wisconsin and
That
Minnesota.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that is, man. Yeah, that's a good. I like that, Bart. That's a good way to ask.
You
All
can
right.
guess my B pick.
I
All
have
right,
a
well,
feeling, and I
we'll
know it's
go-
not fighters, so
I
know who
almost
it
picked him.
Well, there you go. Now no one's going to
That's
say
not
fighter.
I know.
Man,
right, so
I'm really
we'll-
thinking we're gonna bait him into telling us our pick
Ooh,
before.
I'll
before
go
he does
because
it.
someone got it. Anthony Diaz.
Yeah,
He was
You're
a
going
first.
old?
So
The
Well,
schlap.
Patty Slapper.
Group B, I'm going with Pat Schlapper. I mean, he's had some good events in the Elite Series. He's got some really big fish. I think this will kind of be the Schlapper come out party. He's fished down here. He's fished the river a lot. And like I said, I think smallmouth are going to win. And to catch the Mississippi River smallmouth consistently, like you need to be able to bail on spots and kind of go run stuff. And I feel like he'll be able to do it. And I truly think he's going to be one of the guys who's fishing smallmouth the majority of the time. But there's a lot of other really good picks in this bucket. Like this bucket is loaded. I
It's as loaded
really
as it
think
gets.
the winner is probably coming out of this bucket.
Here's Ronnie, real fast. If you know off the top of your head, didn't Schlapper won Big Bass like what, twice this year?
Yep, back to back. He won at Santee Cooper and Chickamauga. Had it almost and then I think he had
He had a giant at Harris Chain too.
he had an 8-pounder at Harris Chain. He had 10 at Santee. And he had like a 9 or no, he had a 9.15 at Santee and like a 10.5 at Chick or something.
Good.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think
yeah,
I
I
don't think
was
anyone's
sure.
ever had Big Bass back to back Elite Series events, and Schlapper did.
That's sick. All right, we
Yeah.
got Pat Schlapper. Andy, who you got?
this-
Wait, very fast. Bart, what do they win? Queen or Hobie?
Hobie.
Hobie? All right, we
New
got the new
shades.
Echoes.
some sweet
Anthony
shades
Diaz, those
heading
new
his way.
Echoes are going to be headed your way, dude. Those things are freaking sweet. Actually, I'll pull them up real fast on the share screen here so you can see what you're going to be winning. Why Andy said they're kind of like a modernized Viper shades.
Oh, they're
freaking sweet.
fantastic.
Look at your Tron.
Athletic is, let's go. Sprinters sunglasses.
Which ones are we sending them, Bailey? The
I
black
believe it's
ones?
those ones. I believe
Those
it's these ones right here. Yeah.
God,
Diaz is
nice.
pumped.
But Anthony, get in touch with us, buddy, whether over email or social, and we'll get those sent out to you. But Andy, take it away for bucket B.
Yeah, so I mean, unfortunately, I'm going fighter just because he's due a actual like $100,000 Derby blue trophy. Besides Mille Lacs, I think this is his best shot to end the season. Hopefully get one, but it was hard for me. My second pick was Hackney, just because I know he's done well there in the past. I think there was it not a BPT event, but something along those lines, like a qualifier cup that he did really well there swimming a jig like 4 or 5 years ago. And it was tough for me not to go with him. And then my third pick was Bob Downey. That's who I ultimately thought Bart was taking, was old Bob.
So we're picking 5 people overall, and Andrew's picking 5 in this bucket. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to pick
There's
5.
so many good
but
picks in this
yeah.
bucket. Like, I literally think the whole top 10 could be in this bucket.
Dude, yeah.
glad I didn't take Bob.
Victim
Jim
B
is
is old Bob.
victimizing everyone.
Victim P is all bombed down.
Man.
Man, don't do that to Bob. Bob's a good guy.
Yeah, come on.
Even
Cool.
looking forward to
Bob.
Cool story about Bob. I don't know if Bart's ever told this, but the first time Bob met Fighter, they fished as a boater co in a pro-am deal, and his mom dropped him off at the boat ramp, and like a 19-year-old Fighter won with a 16-year-old Downey on the Mississippi River. And I think Bob was proud because he contributed one of the 5 fish limit in that pro-am. With
Let's go. That's
First time he
fantastic.
met Fighter. Yeah, another on the
Very
Elite
cool.
Series.
That'd be a
Wow.
cool show to get them to on to talk about that.
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of fun. All right, Deacon.
Yeah. So again, just to reiterate, I would argue to say, and I'd love your guys' opinion because we've been following this all year. This is the strongest bucket that I have seen for an event this entire season.
It's incredible.
Absolutely. Everybody's in it.
I will say, other than bucket A of Oahe, where there was every single smallmouth like
Smallmouth guy.
hammer. I think 4 of the top 10 were from bucket A, 4 of the top 10 were from bucket B, and 2 of the top 10 were from bucket C in the last event.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's pretty accurate there. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, and so with that, I mean, just some dark horses that I'm going to throw out there. Clifford Perch has had great track record here. He's got a fantastic track record in the last couple times. The elites have been there. Porosnik has almost won there. Obviously, you have all your local boys that grew up fishing that thing. There seems like there's a lot of championships that happen at lacrosse, especially kind of in smaller stuff into the fall and into this time frame. So I think all of that's huge. I think you've got your absolute hitters, Jason Christie, Hackney. I mean, just so many. Oh, another one huge, like the guy I've been riding all year for consistency, Luke Palmer, man. Like that dude is just stick 1%, right? So like that's huge. But to me, I'm riding the Fighter train on this one. Just watching him on Oahe, how chill he was, it reminded me of Fighter in previous years, just relaxed and catching them. And after he gets that like little limit in the boat, he's just dangerous. And to me, it's on a place where he can go chase smallmouth, dip in and catch a green one if he needs to. And I'm looking for Fighter to do well. I know he's a high percentage pick, but I'm not really interested in percentages at this point. Just trying to beat Bart, and that's who I'm going with.
Fighter's a great pick because
I love that.
I would argue he is definitely going to fish for smallmouth.
Dude, there's so many good picks in here. Holy
There
crap.
is. There's one that nobody's mentioned who.
Yeah. We'll
if
save
I
it. We'll
thought I
save
was
it.
going to get one with greenfish, I'd pick him.
We'll save it till the end and see if there's any gaps, and we'll fill them all in. But,
I can, since Andy picked 5 people and Deacon listed 6 more, I can do the other 5 in the bucket, and I'll get one that Bart was mentioning.
Love it.
Let's go.
just
I
let
think-
it rip.
I think I'm going with Luke Palmer here. 0 tournament history here. I just like this because I'm also there is a saying where there's too much of a good thing. I think there's too many local picks. There's too many make sense picks that one of them is going to suck. 2 of them are going to suck, and I don't want to be one of those guys. You're not going to have an all Minnesota or Wisconsin top 10, and so I don't know enough about someone's personality to know how they even address practice at a place that they are familiar with. So, especially a place that a lot of families going to be there. There's going to be a lot more distractions this week. And this bucket is interesting because half the people in this bucket don't have to catch a bass to make the classic, and half need to do just a little bit. Probably, it ranges down to where you probably got to get a top 50, and so some of them are fishing free and some of them are not. It's hard to tell how it is in the last event of the season. So Luke Palmer's my pick. I think his style, locking a frog, flipping a bad mama, putting the spinning rods up. I think that Luke is a pick that I'm cool to go with, and it's off the beaten path. I use Rapala because I can't win any prizes. I use Rapala Fantasy Fishing as a way to pick other people because I could just go Fighter, Hackney, Christie, Johnston's every single week, and I'm not telling anyone that's playing fantasy fishing something they don't know. I'm trying to give them other people's picks or other picks to think about. So Palmer is my pick in bucket B.
Ronnie, I like kind of what you said with what Deacon said about guys who are fishing chill or kind of made the classic. Like, that's when Fighter is so dangerous. Like, when he can just swing, he is so good. And I think
Who was that? Who were you saying?
Fighter. Like, when he can just swing, he is so good. Like, you see it on like Champlain and places where he's just not even worried. And now that I don't think he doesn't really need to worry about the classic that much, does he, Ronnie?
No, I don't think he does. Not with the top 10 last week. He's in 25th. I think so. I've done the math every event, and the projected point total for the classic spot in 43rd right now has not changed the last few weeks. It seems like no matter who's taken the 43rd spot, it's the same points, and it's a 506 point projection right now. And so with anglers being able to get 10 points if they catch a bass at minimum, if you finish last with the bass weighed in, you get 10 points. That means anybody above 30th or 31st in AOY, all they have to really do is catch a bass to get to the projected mark. Now, whether it goes up from projections a point or two or down remains to be seen. But if you really want to be safe, Hackney's already at that projected mark and 28th, and everybody above that, which is Palmer, Cobb, Fighter, the Perch, those are the guys right above it, should be in the projected classic cut line right now, points-wise. So they might not have to do a thing.
Yeah.
Really fast, before I give my pick here, Andy, what was your Group E pick?
My Group E? Hold on, let me go back. My Group E was red wine.
Because he catches fish. He knows how to
Because he
catch
catches fish.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought for a second here that Andy was low-key taking the route that Deacon, we joked about Deacon with Bart saying the same picks that he would, because Andy and I are only a point away.
Oh, for the reason.
But I'm picking before you, so you'd just be, you'd be trying to one-up me. But how could I pick the same
I'm
picks
saying
as
if
you?
I had the same picks already, I would change mine for the sake of we have to be different. But the fact that you have different Group E, it makes me feel fine. And I'm also going with Seth Fighter to be safe. Otherwise, if you were same Group E, I would have gone with Caleb Kufal because I think he's a day 3 lock.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say, that was a guy that nobody's talked about. Like,
That's right.
Everybody thinks of Minnesota, Wisconsin with the Mississippi River, especially lacrosse. Like, that is Wisconsin driven. Like, there is very few big tournament venues really on the middle, the western part of Wisconsin. So, like, a lot of your Wisconsin guys, like Jay Shakira, spent a lot of time on the Great Lakes, but a lot of those guys fished the Mississippi River a ton. Like, that's where they went to their big tournaments. Whereas Minnesota guys went to Minnetonka, Leech, Vermilion, North. Not as many Minnesota guys have really ventured down. That's where kind of Bob Downey and Fighter are a little different. They fish the river a lot.
Gotcha.
I want to call out, you didn't throw the comment up, but I just peeked it. And Hella Bass is talking junk, saying I'm giving up on regular fantasy. I am in like 91%. Oh, you did throw it. I missed it. 91% over here. Okay, I'm doing my best, but I am in the top 10 percentile for fantasy fishing. So, even though it's not my forte, Drain the Lake by far is, which I'm not going to bring up. I'm not going to bring up Hella Bass's track record in Drain the Lake because I'm beating him, I believe. But yeah, I just want to say that. I wanted to call out that.
I'm doing better in Drain the Lake than regular fantasy too.
I think it's
That's
because
crazy.
it's more strategy. You have to know all 90 anglers and what they're good at, and you have to find a place to put them. And I played Drain the Lake this year, scared in week 1, and that 1,200 points at the St. John's, which my average is 1,900 for every event. That's kill. I would literally have a legit shot at number 1 if I just had 15 or 1,600 in the first one instead of 12. So it's driving me nuts that I got smoked in that.
Gosh, I'm like torn right now. I want to pick Goofball. I would go with the grain, but we're still in the bucket. Is there any vetoes if I switch my pick to Goofball to?
No, you can go Goofball.
And see, he's only doing it though because Ronnie told him to. I
want to see.
No,
I
Ronnie didn't tell me to do anything.
No, Rich
I
put it
hate-
in the comments. Says
I hate
Bailey
making
pick
the same
Goofball.
He literally said it.
I didn't even see that.
Oh, you're the comment king. Don't even. You read every comment.
I still have my new comment button on my thing over here. I haven't even clicked it yet. I'm still at Kevin Wesley's Group A for the Woods, straight pimpin' Matt Robertson. That's still where my comment's at. All right, fine. I will stay with Fighter. I won't pick, just so you guys stay.
Oh, I don't care, baby.
Oh, I
I'm
don't
here for
care
the
either.
people.
I'm just picking on you. Kind
I'm
of like
here
you
for
guys
the
all
people.
picked on me because he catches fish. So
I just think that's the line that we need to put on like a wooden plaque, like a fantasy fishing trophy for the
No,
serious
it's
angler group
catch
needs to be
fish.
like, I picked this guy and won fantasy because he knows how to catch fish, quote unquote.
it's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was so good.
But like Bailey knows, that aligns perfectly with like the personality of me when we fish together. It's how it happens. Just
You guys
kinda deal with it.
have to have a soundboard, Bailey, to get a serious angler to another. You got to get a soundboard, and you got to get some of these lines that you've got recorded in a file and double click and just play them out loud at the end of the year.
Because he can catch fish.
You can catch fish. Insightful.
That is it.
Oh my god.
That was next level.
It's the last year, the last show of
The
the year. I'm
insight
just honored to be here.
everyone's
So
looking for.
I got to burn it down.
It's fantastic. Oh, I
Good
love
gosh.
it.
Really fast before we move on. There's some notables I think in Group B that we still missed, like
Oh.
Tyler Rivette.
You said the
I
whole
think is
bucket.
one-
Yeah, so I was just cover the
That's
whole
what I'm
bucket.
saying.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Fair enough. We'll move on. Group A. Bart, round us out.
Mine's. I actually changed this last minute. I had it for a junk fisherman first, but I switched it to Jay Shakirat because of cloud cover the first few days in smallmouth, and Jay also fished the bass divisional here the same weeks last year. So,
See, I heard through the grapevine that he was not good in lacrosse.
he hasn't fished it a ton, but he at least was there, same conditions, water level stuff last year. So
Good.
I'm gonna go with him and smallmouth.
All right, Andy, you're up.
This one was hard for me.
I swear to
Because
God.
they all catch
No,
fish.
no. I want to go. I wanted to go with Swindle because he in 2016, same time of year, topwater, he had smallmouth firing right, and he basically helped Octafo secure that win because he had those city smallmouth going on a spook and basically told him where to go during the tournament, right? But also Brandon Lester is hungry for winning in AOY, and I can see him really swinging for it. So I went with Brandon Lester over Gerald Swindle.
What if Lester won an Open, an Elite, AOY, and next year he'll be a favorite for the Classic? What if he won those in a one calendar year? Holy cow.
That'd be pretty insane.
Welcoming coming out party.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's go, Jim.
No.
Come on,
Jim.
Jim. Why would you do that?
Jim is savage.
Change
Man.
your pick, Jim. Actually, you know what? I will say, I think like 3 or 4 tournaments ago, me and Jim had the same pick, and that guy had a top 10, if I remember correctly. So I'm safe with Jim. All right, like
Curse my
we're
Well,
buds
that's
here.
like
10% of the time it
brain.
works every time.
Exactly.
Exactly right.
Yes. Yeah, 1% of the time. All right, Deacon, you're up, dude.
All right, guys. I went with, bucket A was a little harder for me. I wouldn't say it's quite as strong as bucket B in this case for this specific derby, but I went with Stetson Blaylock. He finished 14th here in 2018. It was a different time of the year, but it was still kind of late June, starting to kind of get into that summer period. So I just think that dude catches them everywhere. He's having a great season. Doesn't have to worry about the classic, so he may go swing and go for a win. So that's my pick.
Heck yeah.
Real quick, Chris Flay is gonna win the queen tackle because I'm just gonna stick on
Yeah.
the he catches fish quote line. All right, so thanks, Chris, for backing me up here. You can be making fun of me; it's fine. But
knows what
he
he's
just
talking
catches
about.
fish. Yes, he knows what he's talking about, and Chris Flay is gonna win the gift card to queen tackle.
Awesome. Heck yeah, Chris, let's get in touch. We'll get you that gift card sent out. Ronnie?
G-Man. Gerald's been my pick here since January. He's on my Drain the Lake team. I've had it slotted in this spot. In 2016, which is my last year working on the water with the elites, I saw that same stuff that Andy was talking about with Swindle. But I got to watch Swindle's. Okay, so cool story here. I got to watch Swindle's GoPro footage every single day of competition because I would see Lulu at takeoff, or I'd see him at takeoff. They'd be putting the GoPro on the boat. He'd catch him that day. I'd ask, hey, can I use your card for some highlights, and I'll give it back in the morning. We did that every single day because he caught him so well that year. It was him and Hackney for AOI. Hackney had made his mistake, and Swindle ran away and won the AOI with Combs trying to chase him down at Mille Lacs. And I saw Swindle basically every cast he made as long as the GoPro was running in 2016. And one thing I picked up about Gerald Swindle that people know is, yes, he's a junk fisherman, but explaining his actual definition of junk fishing, it's hard to do in words, but when you see it, it's impressive. So over that year, I probably saw 60 to 75 casts that blew my mind. It's one of those things where we've all done it as tournament fishermen. You're fishing down the bank with a bait, and you look at something and you're like, I need to pick up that. And you pick it up, make a cast, catch a fish on your first cast with that new bait on that piece of structure. You put that rod down, you pick up what you were fishing with, and you keep going. And then you see another piece, and you pick up something else, and you catch one on it. So at the end of the day, you've got 5, fish in your live well, and they came on 3 or 4 different baits. But Swindle did that religiously to where that man is so smart when it comes to something is triggered in his brain that made him pick up a different bait. And so junk fishing is just like throwing whatever, whenever, no reason. But for Swindle, his junk definition is I've seen it, and it is so calculated on, I'm going to throw this bait all day, but I'm going to mix in these 5 others for about 6% of the casts throughout the day. And those 6% are the most efficient casts I've ever seen in my life. So this body of water suits him well with that style, I believe, as long as he doesn't get stuck somewhere. I think that when I saw that, I immediately thought, man, if it gets tough, if it's low, if you could catch him on multiple things, I feel like he's going to play his cards well. So that's a little thing from how impressed I was from the comedian who kind of hides how smart he actually is.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like
It's
that.
a junk
crazy,
fisherman fishery.
Dude,
so.
I wish I could make like it wouldn't be a captivating YouTube video because people would be like, show the catches. Why are you showing the cast before and him putting the rod down and picking it up? But it was absolutely crazy. Like, because we all have that moment. We look at our buddy and we're like, dude, first cast. Like I knew that I needed to pick up a jig there, or I knew I needed to pick up a topwater on that seawall and the first cast does it. And we always, as amateurs, ride with that. You flip in a jig, you pick up a topwater, and you catch one, and you ride with it for 30 minutes, and you don't catch another fish. And I knew it was another level with him when he put it right back down maturely and went back to work with what he was doing. And so I was like, man, that guy.
That totally reinforces like the guy that breaks 12 rods uses 2 the whole time, but all those other rods are like for 3 to 4 casts a day.
Just in case. Yep.
Yeah. Smart. I like that. I like the hell out of that reasoning, Ronnie, too. I like that.
It was a cool story. I wish I don't know how to write a good enough story without it being too long and wordy on that, but what is that one piece of structure? What is that one fish behavior? What is that one weather change that triggers an elite angler's mind to do so? Same thing with Hackney. Everybody's got it. There's a couple guys that definitely have it, a couple that learn it. But like what makes Christie, do that or approach something the way he does? I think those are the so hard to do a video and so hard to do a story on it without just seeming like it's a dumb, vague answer. But it's like KVD telling you how to throw a square bill, and you know that you're going to pick up that same square bill and never be able to throw it like him because there's an unexplainable thing that just time on the water gives you.
And is that do you think it's like like you said, just a pattern recognition thing where he's so many things calculated to his brain is just moving to this because of that little bit of thing?
Yeah, and like I think it's like you've been on the water so many hours, you've seen every single type of weather system and situation. You see an oil, you see it's a windy day and you see a slick spot on the water and you're like, we just look at that all the time. It's like whatever. And Hackney's like, when bait fish get eaten, they put out oil from their scales and it creates a slick. And then he goes and catches and wins a tournament. They're like, I would have just been like, hey, look at that one calm area over there. That's cool. And we kept going. And so there's something that does that. Like Christy with the fog, he's like running at Chickamauga and he's like, I'm going to my main area. And he's like, it's foggy. I don't want to risk running into something. Let me just pull over this dock. I caught one on like 17 years ago. And then he catches 3 fish that give him the win at Chickamauga before he even gets to his area. Just things like that we take for granted. And you're like, it's not the plan, but you're mentally prepared for that adjustment. It's not those rods on the deck for Swindle aren't the plan, but he's ready for that slight adjustment. And everyone always expects it to be like a 180. Like, yeah, I was flipping a jig all day, and then I picked up a topwater and did a 180 the rest of the day. No, it's like you did a 180 for 12 minutes throughout the entire day, and you caught fish in those 12 minutes. It's very cool.
That is awesome. And just to real quick, I saw Chris Flay's comment. It's not exactly pertaining to fantasy fishing, but so I flew into Champlain and fished behind Spencer Sheffield as a co-angler in the Champlain Toyota series. First of all, extremely hard to fish behind somebody scoping at that level. Oh, yeah. But incredible, man. Exactly what Ronnie's talking about of guys who have it and have those adjustments and have those little things. And granted, it's doing his thing, right? And he just won again, right, on the Tack Warehouse Pro Circuit Championship. But anyways, that dude was, I don't know, coolest thing I've ever drawn as a co-angler. Just was incredible to watch him work and see that level of that next tier is what I would call it.
And one thing that's cool about Spencer is he's from down the road from where we are here in Arkansas. His dad's obviously Ron Sheffield, like one of the best shallow water beatdown guys of all time. So he's been ingrained with that his whole life. He's learned the opposite now with the forward facing sonar. But it's cool to see Spencer win that tournament because he was told no when he applied for the FLW tour years ago by FLW, and he was the first one left off the list, and they put a guy they should not have put in there, and he did not give up and got in the next year, and now he's a champion. And I'm like, man, they dodged a bullet there because this is a cool story they get to tell that they almost couldn't, because if he would have just gone at 180 and fished the opens or something, he might not have been doing it. So very cool to see him win that. Yeah. But man, Dakota Eber needs to freaking win one.
Oh, dude, so many seconds.
Golly.
That dude's a stick.
Anyways, I took way too long on Bucket B, but I thought that Swindle story was very cool.
Heck yeah. You mean Bucket A?
Bucket A.
Oh, that was Bucket A.
Sorry. We're on to the last pick, and that's my pick, and no one has talked about him yet, and I'm actually kind of shocked no one picked him out of this group here. And he's going to be – I can expect him to be giggling, throwing a frog on Bass Live all weekend, and that is Mr. John Cox.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys – nobody picked John Cox out of this group. And, Andy, I'm going to say – I'm going to make this show interesting. Somebody's got to talk crap. You're going to be throwing the lure up this weekend because you didn't pick John Cox. Bart loves it.
He doesn't catch fish nearly like Andy's standards have, so
he doesn't catch much fish.
You know what? There is a place that I think I can get a smallmouth to eat that lure, and it will be hysterical. So I'll throw it without shame. That's fine. I don't care. So bring it on.
Good grief. All right. Well, obviously, I think there's no really big reason behind John Cox for this one besides the fact that it's John Cox.
And he catches fish.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, buddy, but you just gotta go. We're just gonna leave him. We're gonna leave him out for now. All right. So that kind of wraps up the picks. That does wrap up the picks. Bucket A is done.
Just kind of.
So let's. I hate you. let's get into the weights. What do you guys think it's going to take to win? I think this is where it comes down to Adam versus
Bart's gotta stay for last.
Oh,
That's fine.
It's not my show. It's not my show, but I don't want him to do it and him have more info on this place than anyone, and then all of our weights are skewed unless everyone's gonna stick to their guns.
I got mine set.
Yeah, mine set as well. I won't
All right,
change.
Bart. Just let it rip, buddy.
I am going first.
Yeah,
you're
go
going
ahead.
First. We're keeping it standard.
All right, I'm always a hair high, but the weights here have been lower than they've been in
102
previous
pounds.
years because they've gotten beaten. But I do think it's going to get one with smallmouth, so I think it's going to be a little bit bigger. But I'm going to go with 69.9.
Oh wow,
Nice.
nice. Back on your usual, man.
Yeah, back
Ripping up
riding
high.
high. Yeah.
It's gonna take 120 pounds on fork.
A little over 17 a day.
Hey,
Safety
120 on
Cooper.
fork is close. I said
No.
120 on a Harris chain. It was 73 or something. 74.
Oh God!
It's a
We
spawn
got
in
2
Florida.
bars.
I thought
got
we
2
were gonna
bars.
smash him at the Harris chain. I mean, it took 65 for 2-day college event. I thought we were gonna break 100 pounds.
Yeah, like it's, in my opinion, it's for sure going to be in the 60s. It's going to be over 15 a day. It's just, is it going to be over 15, 16, or 17? Like, that's going to be it. It ain't going to be bigger than that.
I'm still trying to fathom Ronnie's comment about the Harris chain.
Dude, the
Holy
Harris
crap.
chain was the best lake in Florida this year, and that's all. We just hit it at the bad time.
Dang.
When half the field's
All right.
fishing one grass flat, that's not good.
No.
Yeah, this is very true. Very true. It's a great point. Andy, what do you got?
I have 63.6.
Okay. Deacon,
Close to Andy there. I got 63.1.
what about you, Ronnie?
65-13.
All right. Well, I will go a little bit above you guys. I'll go towards Bart's here and say 67.12.
That's
awesome.
that was basically what I was at before I looked at the weather.
Here, like, let's add 2 pounds.
Get a couple more 4-pounders.
So
Four
do you think with 69 pounds being the winning weight that the person who wins will be the day one leader because they'll have to bust a big bag in the clouds? You think? I mean, they're going to have to. Is it going to be a 4-day wire to wire or what?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a good question.
it's looking like Friday, Saturday you'll have clouds. Like Saturday will be cloudy all day. You're gonna have wind, but it's a river. It doesn't really get bucking that bad, and they don't really care. A scattered thunderstorm Sunday, so maybe some clouds. So yeah, the first 2 days, I think. I mean, you can see a 19, 20-pound bag of smallmouth.
So we're going to be at 40 pounds the first 2 days, and then 20,
Whoa.
29 the last 2
Yeah,
days.
like 38 probably.
Okay, I mean that's
38
1
to
pound.
39.
Don't be saying whoa like I was egregious. I mean,
Yeah,
we
that's
got to
So,
be
like,
up there
40
a little bit.
40 on the
19-pound
river, it's
bags,
like, whoa,
like-
hold your horses here. Like, don't catch that many 4-pounders. But yeah, I think you could see someone. You could see a ton of shuffling, but if it is one with smallmouth, you're going to see 1 or 2 guys up top for a lot of it. Like those first couple days, smallmouth bite should be wicked with the clouds.
I always like going high on the weights because I always want to will it to be a more fun tournament.
Same.
Big
That's
fish.
what I go by. Realistically, it'll probably be around 65, but
It's all positive
Open
vibes.
for
That's all it
69.
is. Yeah. What do you guys think for big fish?
Ooh, good question. What have they been in the past? I haven't really looked.
No clue. Bart would probably know our
I
Rich
know.
in the comments.
I honestly have no idea.
I know Otswin he had a 6, but I
That's
think
like, dude, that's a unicorn.
yeah, I think it's usually like high 4s,
fives?
isn't it? Like
Okay.
low 5s, high 4s. For a
It'll
large
it'll
game.
be over 5. Probably low 5s to mid 5s, I would guess.
And that'll be a green
There
one?
is a very rogue random chance someone catches a 7-pounder in on Alaska, but that happens like once a year. But I would say 5 1/4, 5 1/2. It'll be a green one more than likely. Could be a smallmouth, but more than likely not.
Gotcha.
There have been this year on the Elite Series. Finish the big bass thing, and then I'll say this and then hop out.
Andy, what do you got? We'll just go around the room quick.
Oh, for what I think the big bass
Yeah,
will
big
be.
fish.
I'm gonna go 5 1/4 ish.
Deacon?
Yeah, 5 pounds, 8 ounces.
Ronnie?
514.
Ooh, close. I was gonna say 512.
6.
I like it. Nobody over 6. Okay. All right, Ronnie, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say this year there have been on the Elites, there have been 2 events, the Elites and the Classic, 2 events that have been won wire to wire. And that was St. John's and Santee. There has been 1 event that has had a different leader every day. That was Chickamauga. There have been 3 events that have had the winner lead from day 2 on. You know, it was a different day 1 leader, but day 2 on, and that was Fork, Pickwick, St. Lawrence. And then we had 2 events that had the winner led 2 of the 4 days, and that was Harris Chain, which was day 2 and day 4 for Buddy, and then Owyhee, which was Felix the last 2 days. So we've had quite a few lead changes, but honestly, if you're not in it somewhere in the top 10 after day 2, you haven't really, been in it to win it. It looks like, based on the elite year.
Well,
And the Classic involved the Classic. Christie was tied for the lead going in the final day, so I'll count that as he led 2 of the 3 days. He was co-leader.
Ronnie, stat idea here. Okay, so and this is just my younger brother's an incredible wrestler, and so like 80% of wrestling matches are won by the person who has the first takedown. So I'd be curious to see like what percentage of Elite Series wins are after a day 1 lead. How many of that percentage and go win the event.
Yeah, that would be this year after the day 1 leader winning would just be 2 of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 2 of them, and those were both
that percentage.
Those were both pre-spawn and spawn. Pre-spawn and spawn. But once we've gotten to the full summer, which I would say was Fork, Pickwick, St. Lawrence, Owyhee, we saw a lot less leader changes because it settled itself out, which is interesting time of year wise.
I think this one we're going to have a different leader day 1, and then it's going to go follow suit. The guy's going to lead the day 2, 3, and 4 are going to be your.
You do? Okay. I bet they have a tough Sunday, and I think the winner of this event leads day 2 and day 4, like Harris Chain. I bet you they have a downgrade on day 3, and back up on Monday.
See, and I think they're going to smash them on Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday is going to be a little weird. Sunday will be a little weird.
So we're on the same thought that whoever smashes them will
right.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing with the river, it's kind of like Champlain. Like, if you're in the top 15 right away, you got a shot. It's hard to make up ground on the river.
Yeah.
Like, there's just not
a lot of
like a mega bag on the river. Realistically, is over 18 pounds, 18 and a half ish. Like, Fighter that one year, he almost beat Ott. Didn't he have like a 19 and a half one day?
Just a freak.
Yeah, he had a big bag of smallies.
Rig fish. I'm gonna hop out of here because I've been bombarding the show for too long. Even if people like me here, I've just been taking up y'all's show. Appreciate y'all. Do y'all play Drain the Lake? Did anybody here play the Drain the Lake? You do. We need to
I forgot.
We need to do that next year and have everybody talk and do it because it's very fun. It's very strategic for high level bass fishing IQs like this, like we have on this show with explanations. Like he just catches fish. With that kind of insight, you got to do a season long deal because it's very cool and like you'll see yourself start getting better. Like each event, if you start slow, you'll start gaining on the mass population. And I moved up after Owyhee to 74th in the country or in the world for Drain the Lake, and so I'm a little too far away to win overall, but it's very cool. I think Neil Paul, who is the tourism at Lake Hartwell, is second overall.
Oh, let's go.
And then Rick Pierce, Basscat Boats owner, his son Dylan is first overall. So it's very cool.
Awesome.
And it's just something that it's 8 guys. Once you pick them once, you can't use them again. So it's strategy. And I'm proud of myself. Just last thing before I leave, being 74th, I put all my teams together in January and haven't touched them. So I looked at the schedule, time of year, thought about stuff, and really put the team together, and I haven't touched it. And I just log that team each week, and I'm 74th. So it's very cool to challenge yourself.
74?
No, it's like out of 30,000 or something.
I'm in the 95.5 percentile, and I'm 930. So there's a lot of people.
Yeah, 1,000 people for 5%. There's got to be some kind of, what is that, 20,000 people then? Yeah, for Drain the Lake, and there's 40,000 people for Rapala. So I'm out. Appreciate you guys. Hey, I love
Have a good night,
David
Ronnie.
Angler's channel. Love Serious Angler. I will see y'all later. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming, Ronnie.
Time, Ronnie.
So, Bart,
Hold on, dog.
I was gonna say I want to have a similarity thing here, right? I live on the Niagara River, and when we talk cloudy to sunny, you get that weird transition, that Sunday funk, because it's going to be sunny after 3 days or 2 days of clouds. Like, that resonates with me because that topwater bite here with our super clear water we have will be insane on the cloudy days. And then when it goes sunny, those smallmouth get so funky. They just don't want to eat. And it's like they just disappear.
Yeah, like I said, I think Friday, Saturday is going to be see spooks, cool stuff. Like I would love to see someone do really well, like working a fluke. You never see it in the Elite Series. I would love to see a guy working a weightless fluke and just smashing them because it's so good for largies and smallies on this river.
Wonder how many Elite boys we have watching this here tonight that are listening that they're tying out a fluke for tomorrow.
Yeah. Hey, tie one on. Pink or white.
We can probably say some names into this screen.
If anyone watched the Major League Fishing Championship there last year, the Tackle Warehouse Pro Circuit event, like it was dominant on current and spooks and blast.
Yeah.
Now that Ronnie's not here, we could talk about the no pants situation.
Oh, God.
We have a great comment here, and I wish we had another prize pack to give away because I would totally give it to him. Is Bass going to implement a Matt Robertson rule for the anglers must wear pants at all times?
They panned away from that pretty quick, man. Like you had it on live mix, and then you had
Dude,
it.
I don't know. His tushy was on like straight Bass Live for like an hour. Could have sworn like it was close enough you could see some brown stains and everything.
But then the camera guy's face, I got like the picture of it, just like cheesing from cheek to cheek.
he's like, I'm so fired.
Point the camera, man. That's your job.
That's right.
Your job what they do.
him. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Didn't Fighter like bet him to or dare him to do it or something?
Yeah,
I think Seth
apparently
dared him. Yeah,
he dared him because he's like, I bet you if you take your pants off, I'll catch a bass because he kept breaking fish off, and he takes his pants off 5 minutes later. Seth catches like a 4.5 pounder, and he actually gets it in the boat. He goes, "Yeah, you ain't putting your pants on for the rest of the day."
That's like the most superstitious guy in the world.
Oh god,
it's hilarious.
Well, fellas, anything the folks need to know before we start wrapping up here? Deacon, did you see the trophy? Did I ever send you a picture of the trophy?
No.
So
trophy.
Our fantasy fishing trophy.
Now.
I swore I sent you a picture. But either way, and for folks that weren't on earlier in the show, this is the.
Oh yeah, dude! I remember this in the beginning. We got drunk with squad.
We got drunk with on to sew the trophy. This thing's freaking sweet, and as I mentioned before, I can't wait to pay for the shipping to send this out to whichever you guys win. That's gonna be super grand. But I think today was a really good show. A lot of fun. Last event, so it's kind of like a little party. We will be having a season recap show, obviously, to unveil the winner, have some fun, have some drinks, and give away some more prizes. So, guys, tonight was awesome. You guys were engaging. It was super cool. A lot of fun. Some great comments in here. I love especially the razzing of Andy. Let's do that every time.
That's fine. Somebody's got to take it each episode, right?
Fine. He's like, fine. Like, I'll take the penis lure. Fine.
Yeah. I'll go catch a big smallmouth on it.
I think Andy's a little too happy to get that lure.
No, I don't want it, but I mean, the deed must be done. So I'll be a fair sport about it.
Oh, that's good. Well, may the best man win next week. Andy and I will battle it out to whoever is fishing a dick lure.
I think what we need to do, Bailey and Andy, is we need to have you go live for a live stream.
Just like chucking that bad boy around.
Start it with him tying it on and just be like, all right, here we go.
All right, and Andy, here's what we'll do, okay? Whoever loses, the other one will film that person fishing it. Deal?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll fish it together, so it's like
you guys are
that's really weird. That's really Andy's have a good night, folks. We'll see you in the next one. Okay, never mind. I veto that idea. Sorry, you're on your own, buddy. GoPro.
That's fine. Like whatever. I don't care.
All right. Well, any of you guys have anything for the folks before we sign off here tonight?
No.
No. All right. Well, guys, we will watch this Mississippi River event and get back to you guys on a season recap show. But as always, appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the next one.